Is a muscle warmed up if it's been foam rolled? The answer might surprise you. When we look at the subject of warming up, I want you to think about warming up the human body from the outside in and from the inside out. I received a really interesting question lately, and that was, when I foam roll, I've heard you talk about the idea that it's causing a vasodilation in the body. Isn't that the same thing that a physical warm-up does? And the answer is yes, but no. If you think about literally what I just said, warming the body up from the inside out versus the outside in, whenever you're doing foam rolling, anytime the skin has contact with anything, it will respond to it. If I take my thumb and I just sit here for the duration of this video and I do circular massage on my forearm, by the time I get to the end of this video, it's going to be red. Any friction sends a message to the skin, sends a message to the muscles, and by the way, it's obviously going through the nervous system here. There's a lot more other communications that are taking place, but for the sake of this video, friction sends a message. That message creates heat. That message isn't actually creating heat, the friction is, but the production of the heat is causing the blood vessels to open up, vasodilation. Warm, oxygenated, nutrient-rich blood goes in there. So from the outside in, yes, I'm physically making the tissue warmer because of friction and vasodilation, because warm blood is warm. As more blood goes to the area, the tissue begins to warm up. I know it sounds like a play on words, but it's really not. Well, would that be sufficient enough? If I foam rolled, could I line up on a 5K, foam roll for 5 to 10 minutes? If I foam roll my legs, 5 minutes each leg, bottom of my foot all the way up to my glutes, am I sufficiently warmed up to go race a 5K competitively? The answer is absolutely not. Now, it's very difficult because if I live in Florida, it's hot and it's humid. This is where people will confuse, because I'm sweating, I must be warmed up. No. Because I foam rolled, I must be warmed up. No. Those are three different things. When you're using a foam roller, that friction creates heat. That's not being metabolically warmed up. Hang on that word, metabolically. If I'm sweating because it's hot and it's humid, I may be warm, but I'm not metabolically warmed up. This is why I wanted to kind of present this video in the way that I did. Yes, I want you to foam roll and then go do a physical sport-specific warm-up. Because now what ends up happening is the internal heat that's created by muscle contraction specific to that sporting activity, now you're sending a hormonal message through the body that says, hey, we're getting ready to really take the heart rate up high. That activates all kinds of communications inside the system, inside the human body through hormones. That's the only role of hormones in the body, is to communicate. Now what ends up happening is the body's going to start to send messages that the production and the generation and the accumulation of lactic acid, a byproduct of stored sugar being converted to fuel, that's going to start to elevate in the bloodstream. So now what ends up happening is the sport-specific activity starts to open up the channels, and it's easier for oxygen to get in and the metabolic waste to be pulled out of the system. Actually, believe it or not, lactic acid is converted into fuel. This is beyond the scope of this video. But the idea here is you don't want to shell shock the system, because the rivers, the flowing of oxygen in and the nutrients and the byproduct out, you want that to be literally seamless. So that's why doing foam rolling gets the muscle tissue to dilate, starts getting lots of good red blood cells coming into the tissue. Then you physically add the activity, communications from the inside out, and that's why I said we want to warm the body from the outside in and from the inside out. Most people think physical activity, they think about the muscle contraction, and that's obviously part of it. I want you to go even deeper than that and get into the blood chemistry side. Hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. When we look at foam rolling, that does not mean that you're warmed up. It does help with soft tissue and optimizing the range of motion, but the physical exercise is what metabolically warms the body up. The cool part about it is when you get in the habit of using foam rollers and stuff like the Theragun, that's called Topodiment. When you're using those types of modalities, you're just speeding up, not so much speeding up in a negative way, but you're essentially letting the body know. You're creating a process here that says, hey, we do some soft tissue work, Now we're going to do some sport-specific activity. Now you're going to have the best outcome possible because the muscles are warmed up from the outside in and you're metabolically warmed up from the inside out. And you put that together, then you'll have an optimized performance and you'll have improved range of motion. You'll have healthier soft tissue, no trigger points in the belly of the tissue, optimized range of motion, the length of the muscles optimized. When a muscle is optimized, it has more power, has more endurance, and from the inside out, you're more efficient at dissipating lactic acid. Hopefully this video was not confusing. This was a great conversation that I was having, and I wanted to make sure that we shared it with you guys. If you happen to have any questions of any sort, as always, feel free to reach out to me, contact@coachrob.com. If you haven't subscribed, I would encourage you to do so. We do put out a video every day, so turn on those notifications. I can't emphasize enough how much our numbers are growing. I can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your day to make these videos a priority, and I hope you'll reach out if we can help in any way. Thanks for your time today, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.